we're using a new stream software, but part two, we're getting to the good part. We're going to get to the Binance eventually. And Tap, have you heard about the Binance, by the way? Have you heard about that whole thing? I'm not sure if you've heard about it yet.
I mean, I heard originally that there was like a lot of speculation around it, right? Like what they were seeing for like having different options between how to buy OMI, but I haven't heard any like official announcement around it. They were grilling Reese pretty hard on the Dr. Deegan Twitch stream the other day, or last night, I guess it was, and like, man, they were grilling him hard on a lot of things, and I was like, Reese is a champ and he's quick on his feet, and like he didn't confirm anything on Binance, but obviously like when we get like a Binance, a KuCoin, anything like a large, even just doesn't even have to be a larger exchange in my mind, like right away. Like I almost won't think they're going to be saving that for maybe the end of quarter, beginning of quarter, but like just more exchanges, right? When you look at like, and I don't want to talk too much about Doge, but like just like other exchanges and why they have a lot more price movement is because they're on a ton of exchanges. So if they throw it on like a Bilaxy and a Hotbit and like all these other ones and just get it out there for more easy access, it's going to have it go up substantially.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of the name of the game. Just get it listed on the exchanges, get that liquidity in there, get more access to people's wallets at the end of the day. And that's going to affect the price, of course. And, all the other stuff, long term, that's obviously the move, right, is to get to the biggest exchanges. And so, yeah, what I've kind of seen is, and we'll get to this, I guess, after a minute, but back to the Doc Deegan interview. I actually haven't been able to find the video. I think you were saying before we went live is like we were both trying to find it. We both wish we kind of took notes, and I kind of just have to recall from my memory. But the things I kind of were recalling was, like you're saying, Reese was saying he didn't really confirm nor deny, any listings. He's like, I just can't talk about it. Salute to Reese on that, man. He's covering that stuff very well, keeping things under wraps. So anyways, yeah, he was talking about a lot of stuff and basically confirmed the Street Fighter game, the Street Fighter, so he confirmed a lot of stuff. He confirmed that by Monday, we're going to see 5,000 more people. Hopefully, if everything's going smoothly through the weekend, they're going to roll out another 5K users to the marketplace. So I thought that was really cool. But yeah, so what did you think about the Dr. Deegan interview?
So I liked a lot of the questions that they did ask. It was interesting to have so many random people that were like, I guess on, like there was like 6 people and then 3 who were not on camera and like 1 that kept popping on camera, but like they definitely were asking a lot of questions, but they were also like live streaming during it, right? So it was like coming directly from their subscribers. But I thought like a lot of them was good. And then a couple of things jumped out to me that were pretty incredible in terms of like, I didn't take notes then. I wish I did, because I thought I'd be able to, pull it up this morning. So when I couldn't find
I just realized I got your Twitter handle wrong. So there it's Taps Trades, right? 2 S's. It's plural. So it's Taps Trades. Okay. So just want to make sure everybody knows that, where to find you on Twitter. So I'll get that updated for you. But yeah, go ahead and proceed. What were you saying again?
So I mean, a couple of things that jumped out to me is, I mean, we know that they were just in Japan at an event, but Reese did mention something around the lines, and this is, me recalling it, and I wrote it down this morning, was that he was saying about how they'll be doing more events, right? And like a lot of the world's locked down, but it'll start to open up, and there is some other events that they could be doing. And it's not just like the branding and licensing events, right? So like Comic-Con in San Diego is going to be massive. And I think he did say something around like Comic-Con, or someone did on that podcast. And that's going to be huge. Like I go to Comic-Con, and then also at some point he did confirm, or it sounded like he confirmed something. I need to pull this video up or find this video again, so that way like I'm not just doing hearsay, but something was discussed around anime. And I'm a huge anime nerd. Like I've cosplayed for years. Yeah, buddy.
Naruto.
Yeah. So like I'm a like immediately they got me excited. But then when you look at like cosplay and anime events and all like the little shotskis at these things, like those events are going to be massive exposure for them. And then even like on the collectible side, I mean, there's so many different types of events that's going to really bring a lot of awareness to them. And when people see that you don't have to like wait for these events to buy them and you can just hop on your phone and the app, like that's going to be really, really big for them.
Yeah, I agree, man. And I'm not sure if you watched yesterday's video that I did, but I just went over to like the Japanese, the licensing show, went to their Instagram, and they literally had so many different brands. It was literally insane. I think they've had Pokemon there, which obviously was one of the biggest things I think that you could have there. They had Tokidoki was there, so that was cool to see that. I was like, whoa, that's already on the platform. And there's a bunch of others. So you know, after the video, you guys can check that out. But that was really cool, you know, just to see that. And I definitely think that obviously they are adding more brands. And I believe Dan has said that they're going to add some more anime. And obviously Ultraman's kind of like the beginning. And then, so I'm pretty excited. Yeah, Cryptomania says we're back. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened there. I don't know if I clicked a button. I don't think I did. Maybe it was the software. I'm just going to blame it on the software. It wasn't me, guys. Software. So yeah, I thought that was very interesting. But yeah, back to the Dr. Deegan interview. I thought it was just kind of, I wasn't sure if that was the whole, I don't think that was ECOMI's team, was it? Was just Reese?
It was just Reese, yeah.
Okay, and then there's just a bunch of other streamers that were just kind of just there. But really it was the doc that was Deegan that was asking kind of the questions. And so a lot of the questions we kind of knew already, and some were, like Reese definitely just opened up, I felt like a little bit on the channel and was just kind of like talking openly, like a chill, which is what I would love to see him in a format. Maybe, you know, we need to get Reese with like me and you on this, you know, and let us answer the questions or ask the questions. And I think that would be very cool. But what other things did you notice off the top of your head from that interview that really kind of stuck out to you, other than like marketplace and anime and, you know, confirming nor denying by exchange listings?
So, I mean, they did address like they're going to be getting on exchanges. He did say they did ask him a lot about how, you know, the app locked up and like people were able to get multiple ultra rares, and Reese was saying like, oh, like, you know, that's something we need to work on because you should only be able to get one. So that is something that I think will be ironed out. Like the people who are just, you know, hitting the spam button and getting like, you know, 4 or 5 ultra rares, that sounds like that'll be taken care of. And then obviously the app is in beta, but I think that's like why we didn't get a drop, right? Is like they're over like 250,000 or 200,000 users now, right? So they want to get this thing ironed out, and like everyone wants Pokemon, like everyone wants Yu-Gi-Oh, everyone wants like these large announcements. And we already know about Jurassic Park and Star Trek and Street Fighter. But until it can really handle like all of the users, it doesn't make sense to announce like a Pokemon. And until like they have 1 million users or like a bigger audience, that's when you do like a big announcement like that, right? Because then you're capturing that big audience, getting them re-energized because they've been on it for like 3 months. Like how do you keep people engaged on an app, right? Is like you have to let out slow, like bit by bit, and then you hit with like a big like announcement, right? So I think they're doing it really, really well and really, really smart from a business standpoint. And then one thing that they did say, and like they were grilling them hard, like, oh, or like Premier League, like, you know, soccer, like they really wanted to get them to confirm because there was a lot of speculation around that. He didn't confirm, but he did say he's a Premier League fan, and like he just kind of had a big smile on his face, like, I don't know, like I like to read people like by body language, all that, and like he wasn't confirming it, but it did seem there's a good chance, right? And we already know that they have NFL, which is awesome, and like I look forward to being able to like see how that works. But soccer is the most popular sport in the entire world, right? So again, that's like almost like, if you're looking for a broader adoption than just like us, you know, Batman anime nerds, like you get people with like the sports, right? And so if you're going to grab or announce the largest sport in the world, I think again that's kind of tied to like the Pokemon announcement, right? Like you're going to wait till you have everything ironed out on the app, and then also when you have a larger kind of pool of audience.
Yeah, for sure. I totally agree with that assessment, because it's like if you announce like too big of a brand name, like for instance, like yeah, definitely soccer, where it's one of the most popular, it's obviously the most popular sport in the world, and then it's like, oh man, if we can't handle, Mermicorno drop, can we handle a FIFA drop? So there's definitely, I know they're working very hard on their end to scale the app and to work out all the bugs, and I'm very happy for that. But yeah, definitely that would be a nightmare situation where, users end up crashing the app if they announce a FIFA. And so I don't know. So I agree with that assessment. Um, I think that was about it from the Dr. Deegan. Did you notice anything else, or was that just about it? I think that was kind of the main points from
Yeah,
that interview that I kind of got out of it.
they asked a lot of good like technical questions about like the app and stuff, which I'm happy like they got that out. Like I look forward to actually being able to watch that again, right? Because like I was watching it at the end of night when I was like tired and kind of like
Same.
half listening, but like trying to catch points. But I think a lot of the like they asked probably between like that hour or however long it was, probably about like 50 questions. And some of it was
That's a
like
lot.
reiterations, but I think when we actually get that video, we'll be able to kind of comb through it and get little nuggets that aren't at the top of our heads. But I think those are the main one. Oh, the other one that they did bring up was, and Reese talked, as they brought up before, but he was hinting a little bit more, was the VeVe verse, right? Like
You're right. Yeah.
that's what a lot of people don't realize, and why like every time I see the price dip, like I bought more, and like now I'm like, man, like I gotta stop buying VeVe, like But when Bitcoin goes up or Ethereum goes up, X amount of percent, I'm like, I just got more to buy more OMI, right? Like, but people don't realize that this is not just a collectible NFT company, right? Like it isn't just about the collectibles right now, right? Like they're talking about the VeVe verse, like this is a marathon, not a sprint to the end of this bull cycle. Like they are building a large world, like the VeVe verse, like whether it's going to have gamification and it's going to have maybe the ability to actually like, maybe they'll have like a partner, and this is speculation, but maybe they'll have like a partnership with like Google Glass or Oculus or, some form of AR headset so that you can actually like do something like augmented reality with your collectibles. And like they're starting to move. There's so many different things that they're doing, and they announced, or he did announce that they're going to be doing like a digital product launch and artist alley in summer. Like this is the first leg of what is an octopus of a company, right? There's going to be multiple legs, and we're just so fortunate to be a part of like the starter community, because this thing's going to grow to a beast.
Yeah, and just going back to what Crypto Maniac said, he was talking about Reeves talked briefly about a wallet, and I'm not really if I understood what he meant there. It's just he's like, yeah, what if you could have a Pikachu? I don't know if he said Pikachu, but he's talking like a Pikachu themed wallet or this wallet, like themed wallet.
Like
so I wasn't really
customization.
Yeah, and maybe he was talking about the physical wallet. So I wasn't really sure. I was kind of tuned in and out at the same time, so I wasn't all the way paying attention at that point. But I really don't understand. But he did say something about a wallet. So that's very interesting. I don't know what he was talking about there, but maybe Crypto Mania.
And he did talk about the master collector, which that is like, I mean, that's going to be big, right? And like it's been very shadowed. Like we haven't gotten a lot of information on it, but he did touch on the fact that like as you get more collectibles, like there's different levels, right? Like you're a level 1, level 2. I'm not sure how they're going to tier it, but then you have different accessibility or like different customization options and like different things that you can do in the VeVe verse. So like really the sky's the limit, right? Like they have all of us on the end of a fishing pole, and we're just just floundering. Like we want more information, we want more content, we want more ability. But then again, like it's been really 2 months for most of us that we've been actively using VeVe and holding ECOMI, right? So like, I mean, that there's been just so much already in 2 months that I think when we look back 2 months from now, we're just going to see a lot,
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because 2 months in crypto, it's like, it seems like a year.
You're in the stock market or any other investment vehicle, right?
Yeah, I look at my calendar and I'm like, oh, it's still the beginning of the, like, we're not even halfway through the year, and they're, you know, announcing things left and right. You know, we haven't even seen all the Q1 drops that were supposed to happen. So Cryptkins still on the agenda, like Monster Hunter. So we still got a ton of more content that's just going to be set to come out. So yeah, it's very interesting at a time, you know, right at the beginning of the app. So there's so much, like you said, it's one leg, literally one little leg to a giant octopus that is just going to be really like the Kraken octopus. All right, I'm gonna build it up. I'm gonna hype it up. The crack, it's gonna be like the Kraken. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be destroying other projects. No, but yeah. So, anyways, on that note, we'll kind of move to the next subject. But this is what the Binance thing I was talking about, and somebody in the chat was saying this was a scam. So I'm gonna make sure everybody kind of knows that. I don't know if it's a scam. It probably is. If somebody in the chat saying it's scam, there's a pretty good chance it is. I think Stephen Michael said that earlier. But just so everybody's aware, there's literally a if you go to the Trust Wallet, type in OMI tokens on that switch. Let me see if I can get that. But it literally says it says BEP20 coin. That's your you know, Binance Smart Chain token. Supposedly that one's the scam. So the Go20 is the one that's the real one. And so this one down here, supposedly what Stephen Michael was saying, is possibly a scam. But some people are reporting it possible Binance leak. But I want to be sure, like, hey, do not, you know, obviously do not buy things, or I don't know if it's even listed anywhere. I think it's just, you know, I don't know where you would even get that, but just so everybody's aware, it could be a scam. I don't know. I don't even know how you would get that token. It's a BEP20 when OMI is clearly a Go20 coin. So what do you have any thoughts on that, or kind of that just came out from my knowledge?
Yeah, I mean, kind of like it's with everything, right? Like there's so many people who are trying to, like, how we're presenting information is like as we see it, and then like we talk about the things of like possibilities, right? But then there are people who don't have channels and just kind of hide on the radar, and like some of them are just trying to pump it, right? So like they're trying to either get back to their initial investment, like maybe they bought it like a little over a cent, or maybe they bought real low and they're just trying to like pump it and then get out. So there are a lot of people who are creating, you know, like fake collectibles or like on other apps, and then like saying like, oh, look, like here's this. And then with like the Binance side, like until ECOMI says something, or until it's like without a shred of doubt, like that this is factual, I wouldn't trade any of that, or even like actively consider it until they actually approve it, right? Because
yeah, totally. And so I totally agree with that. And we got people in chat saying, you know, they've been told it's a scam as well. So hopefully VeVe or ECOMI, the Twitter handle, addresses that up front. You know, if they don't, it's just going to create this like weird, awkward, you know, could it be a Binance leak? And, you know, you're going to have YouTubers kind of running with that. I always like to address things up front. I do have like some kind of clickbaity YouTube thumbnails, I'm not going to lie. But I actually address things like that, you know, so I don't leave people just hanging. Like, you know, I don't just leave the topic hanging, and I don't want people going out there and investing into a scam coin. We saw the pancake swap. Somebody created a fake listing on pancake swap. That was a scam. There's a scam on Telegram. Somebody created a duplicate, almost exact duplicate of the official Telegram. That's also a scam. And they replicated Reese's picture, his exact name on there. And so they're definitely getting very sophisticated in some of their approaches. And so you just want to be careful, guys. Don't go out there without, you know, VeVe's official announcement, especially when you're involving the actual cryptocurrency itself. So just be careful about that. So that was the whole Binance, you know, quote unquote leak, if you will. So I don't know. I have no confirmation whatsoever, and maybe I should just message Reese and find out what's going on with that. But that's as far as we know on that. So
yeah, I'm like, to your point, as this continues to grow and like it keeps spreading like wildfire, like who's aware of OMI, and they realize there's actual real money attached to it, right? Like people are gonna find scams and things like that. So just be careful, everyone. Like, don't trust, like if someone from ECOMI reaches out to you and says like, oh, hey, like send me your collectible and I'll send you one back, or like, hey, there's something wrong with your account, all that, like I would be really, really hesitant about it, because them directly reaching out to you about your account seems pretty, like that's not going to happen, right? So I would just be really, really cognizant of anything with your like sending OMI to anyone, or with your collectibles, because people are getting, like to your point, very sophisticated with their scams.
Exactly. Let's pop on over to let's see what we got here. Let's get to some kind of less stressful topics here. So I don't know if you've seen this yet, but we have David Hughes. Yep, David Hughes.
How cool is David Hughes' house, man? When they've done like he is a collector, right? Like he did a different video a while back where like he was showing all his like collectibles and like art behind these glass cases. Like I feel like he has the dopest house.
Yeah, man. So like, check that out. Like, so we got a, obviously the T-Rex here. He's got calls, man. He's got some cool stuff. Look at this in the background. Can you see that? Do you know who that guy is right there? That's
not Larry Bird, is it?
No, so that's Michael Schumacher right there. That's the F1, one of the greatest drivers of all time, in Formula One, which I hope they bring to the VeVe apps, because I just got into Formula One a couple years ago, and I love it, man. I still watch it. They have a couple of cool Netflix documentary kind of thing on Netflix. And so if you're new to Formula One, man, go check it out on Netflix. It'll get you literally hooked, and you'll be literally watching like every race. And that's what kind of happened to me. So
yeah. And I mean, like we have the DeLorean now moving, right? Like, like that's a different way that they could go to, right? Like as they branch out into different sports, like Formula One, or even for some of the red blood Americans, some NASCAR, right? Like, like there's a big, and like maybe even like some of like the like dragster, like street race, like I don't know. It'd be really cool if they got like a deal with like Forza
would be awesome. Yeah.
Or like Initial D, right? Like that, like any of that would be really cool too.
Yeah. What's funny is like, you have this here, the T-Rex kind of knocking over his calls here, which I thought was pretty funny, rampaging through his house. But he did his little Spock right here. I don't know if you guys can really see that, but let me zoom in on that. He's got the nano, peace and prosperity hand, and the dinosaur. So I'm kind of speculating. Yeah, let me zoom out real quick.
I'll do it.
There you go. So I'm kind of speculating a little bit on that. Like it, Star Trek and Jurassic Park. That's my educated guess for the next drop. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so I think they will get back to doing a weekly drop. And Star Trek and Jurassic Park will be like the headliners, but we've still got 2.5 months, right? Which roughly, I guess, like 10 more weeks until the end of the quarter. So like those can be dropped, but then we could also see like another series of maybe Batman, or maybe one of the what are they called, like the Bombarda, or the gals on the roller skates. I can't.
Oh yeah, Bart. Yeah, Big Barda.
There's multiple. Yeah, there's multiple series that they could release, and then like little other things that they could throw in. So I think we'll see. Hopefully, I'm not hating on the Myrmicornos, but hopefully it's something a little more exciting than the Myrmicornos.
Yeah. I collected the Myrmicornos kind of just to complete the set. I'm like, man, if we're really like, the Master Collectors program is going to roll out soon. They keep hinting it's coming soon. Of course, they say soon about just about everything. So, but they're saying, the Master Collector program is supposedly going to roll out Q2. So I think they're kind of saying beginning of Q2. I thought I heard somewhere. I'm not sure if you heard that anywhere too, but I've heard a lot about that. So
New to Crypto Guy said, look at the comments. He does a Yoda voice. I didn't see that, but I mean, man, if they did start, like, I don't want to get excited about things that like until we hear it, right? But like going into Star Trek would be good, obviously, but like a big piece too that I constantly think about is like most of their fan base are like our ages, right? Like are us actively like using the app and all that. But like as they get more and more, like people are showing their kids and having their kids create accounts and play on their phones and all that. Like if they get larger, attractive licenses released like Star Wars, and I think Jurassic Park will be really cool too. Like that'll appeal to not just like our age group and older, but also like a lot of more kids will actually want to see the stuff and play with it as well. So like I would, if they got Star Wars, and like I'm gonna have to sell some crypto just to buy all these freaking collectibles.
Yeah, man. Yeah, exactly. That brings me to my next topic. And by the way, Cavell Anderson in the house, man. What's going on? Appreciate you for hopping in, man. We've had Cavell on the YouTube channel as well. Did a couple interviews. He's got his own big YouTube channel. Does a lot of speculation and leaks and finding like hints, rumors, and things like that. Digging deep. And he's got some really good content as well. But by the way, what was your first collectible that you collected, and what's your favorite collectible thus far?
It's the same for both. And like my first NFT was VeVe, right? It was acting like that. I was nervous to do so because I think I joined, it was like literally the start of February, like February 1st or 2nd. And that's when I hopped on, and like I liked it. I was playing with it, like, you know, put in like, but I was nervous to buy it because it was the Eduardo Riso. It was $80, and I was like, I understand NFTs, but I'm gonna spend $80 for an augmented reality collectible on an app that like is mostly, you know, has low usage, like, and then it blew up, right? Like I wish I bought a lot more of, of any of those collectibles back then. But the Eduardo Riso, I think it's sub 500 edition. And
Oh wow.
yeah, so like I got access to the marketplace like 2 days ago or whatever it was.
Yeah, very
And
cool.
I posted, I think you highlighted in your last one, like I posted this funny meme, and I was like, that $80 doesn't seem like an expensive collectible anymore, right? Like I'm
Right.
seeing some 8 grand, 10 grand, 15 grand for this thing, but
Yeah.
I'm not selling. Like, I know it's like once we get to 1 million+ users and they're coming out with like 10,000, 20,000 editions of things, that collectible, and then we get like hopefully like a Gary V and like Mark, like more and more celebrities who are getting into NFTs, and they don't see like 10 grand as, you know, people are spending tons of money for NFTs on Rarible and OpenSea and all these things, right? So that's going to have the price of these earlier drops really shoot up. So that's why like I saw it and I was like, oh, that's tempting, right? Like $80 to like 10 grand in 2 months, like that's stupid, right?
Yeah.
But I know I'm hodling it. I like my Eduardo Riso. He's staying in my collectibles.
Yeah. Man, Riso and the Todd Batman. I think those two are gonna be, you know, worth quite a bit more for sure in the not so distant future. As far as, you know, the users coming in, they're gonna see, you know, obviously Riso's an ultra rare, but Todd's, you know, the first collectible on there. So, you know, for those of you guys watching, man, you better snatch up Todd's if you see them on the market, because there's only 7,500, and you know, a Todd's. But then you're talking about millions of users that we're probably going to have in the not so distant future. And you know, that's the first NFT on VeVe, and it's the first licensed Batman on the platform. So that's going to be one that's going to be for the books, I think, to have on your books. But yeah, my first collectible was, I think it was the Becky Cloonan. I passed on the Riso, unfortunately. I was like, man, the Riso looks sweet. Like that's my next buy. And I was like, but the Becky Cloonan looks a little bit more realistic to me, like growing up and having all the Batman toys. So I'm gonna go with the Becky Cloonan. And I bought the Becky, and the Riso sold out on me, and I was like, no. And then I got a little, you know, I passed on Ritmo. I was like, man, I really want Ritmo. But I was like, well, I'm gonna look at some other Batmans and try to collect those too, because obviously I love Batman. And you know, all these collectibles were starting to sell out, the ultra rare. So I was like, man, I gotta do something quick. So Robin was my first ultra rare, and you know, I
Oh, you
think
got the Nightwing?
no, the Robin, I think it was in series 2 or 3, but I missed the Nightwing drop. Well, I didn't miss it. We streamed it live, and I just wasn't able to get in. And my viewers, they're like, "I got my Nightwing," and I'm like, "You guys suck!" Like, I'm like locked out. My app's like frozen, and man, and so I missed out on the Nightwing, unfortunately. But I would
I
have
did
loved
too, man.
I would have loved to have a Nightwing, but just to back what you're saying, like 70-80 bucks seemed so like expensive at the time. And then, fast forward to now, you're like, well, now it's, that was a good investment,
Mm-hmm. I just when I got in the marketplace, I things are like shooting up, right? But like I started thinking like, what do I want as a collector, and then also what do I think will continue to go up in value? And so I got the Mojo Jojo because like I'm a Cartoon Network kid. Like I grew up watching all that stuff, like Dexter's Lab and Powerpuff Girls and all that, and Cow and Chicken, and so and I wanted Mojo Jojo, and I think it was like 195 gems, something like that. But also like Powerpuff Girls, when it was first on the app, you couldn't get it. Like the US, at least the US didn't have the licensing, so I think only Japan could get it. Mm-hmm. And like so that's why I got him, I got Buttercup, and I got Jake the Dog Adventure Time. And so like those are the ones that like I hopped on and got on the marketplace when I had access.
That's cool, man. I can't wait. I was hoping I like did just enough little marketplace activity to hopefully get back into the marketplace. Before it went down, I listed a couple things, like some I did ridiculous prices on there just to test it out. And, I think I listed my one of my Batmans on there for like 10K or
$1
50.
million.
Yeah. I was like, basically, I was saying I'm not giving this NFT up because I really do think a few of the NFTs on VeVe are going to be worth quite a bit. Just because you look at Beeple, which is like the apex of NFTs, right? $69 million. But then you look at like some of these other collections. I've seen there's a guy I follow, and I'm going to have to, I forget his name, but he is kind of like a secret artist. He releases his stuff, and his stuff was selling for like, right off the market, it was selling for like 200 to a couple $100, and then it was back on the market, and people were bidding like 40K for it and things like that. And that was almost less than a week period. And I think given VeVe the time and the continued rollout and the amount of users, I really do think some of these collectibles could be 50K. I think that's pretty reasonable for me, in my opinion. Going back to the Todd example, Riso, obviously, like I really do see these collectibles being, I know that's super speculative, but I really think just seeing other projects and other artists that aren't so well known, and just because they're kind of on this other Ethereum based platform, seeing their artwork do so well, and it's not necessarily even a brand. And I just see VeVe just, that stuff being on there worth quite a bit. So
yeah, it's going to be nutty.
Cavell says, I'm listing everything for over 100K. LOL. That way, if it actually sells, I'll be happy. But if it doesn't, I'll still be happy. Exactly.
Okay, I'm down to do that as well, Cavell. I'm going to list all my common Myrmicornos 100K. If someone's willing to pay for it, I can partner with you.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully, like some, like the guy, like Elon Musk buys them up for a ridiculous price. Who knows? Maybe he gets into more Myrmicornos.
Yeah, I'm loving seeing all the like I said, like a big piece that I love about this is like we've been building a community, right? Like
yeah,
it's all positivity. Like you get some trolls every now and then, but for the most part, like it's a lot of the same names and faces. Like all of us cover different sides of what's happening with ECOMI and VeVe, and we're all just complimenting each other and growing as a community. And like I'm happy to see like Cavell and Jake Gagan and Cryptomaniac and New to Crypto Guy and like all these people in the chat, like conversing with us and bringing things up. So I think it'd be good to like address some of these things. I think I saw Cryptomaniac say like how there's any thoughts on the Air VeVe collectible. I haven't seen what the Air.
I think he's talking about, and I was trying to keep this sandbagged a little bit, but because I'm the collector, what I'm saying, I got to keep that stuff on the DL. But there, yeah, I guess there's a couple misprints, and people are noticing like little errors.
Ooh.
Yeah, little errors. There's some major errors in some of them too, and they're going for cheap on the marketplace. I'm not gonna tell you guys. You're gonna have to do your own research on that. But I think,
gotta go.
yeah, yeah. So I think HQ08, he said might have had one, but HQ08 is like one of the red, black, and white series, and I think they're already expensive anyways. But obviously, I think it'll be more expensive, you know, when more and more people are finding out. But that's something definitely to look out for. I even think the Todd itself was an error. I think and I don't know if that was a rumor or not. So I don't know if this is confirmed, but I think the Todd was supposed to be the ultra rare, and the Riso was supposed to be. So I don't know. I don't know about that one. I don't know if that one's just a rumor, but there is actual ones. I checked myself and confirmed some misprints / error stuff on there, and I was like, wow. You know, give it about a year or maybe 2 years, but that one's going to be worth quite a bit. And there's only literally one of them in the whole series, you know. So yeah, well, when we get offline, I'll have to tell you about it. You know, I got to keep that one sandbag for myself. You know, yeah.
One thing that Sir Crypto just said is like when we get the secret rare Ultraman, man, when do we get the Slimer and Ghost Trap? Like those secret like those drops have been on the coming soon for so long, and like that was like one thing that we addressed earlier on this live stream was, yeah, we're looking forward to Star Trek and Jurassic Park, but there's going to be other drops and probably other series, right? Like they showed like what the Ghostbuster car looked like, which looks really cool. Like I think we'll probably see another Ghostbuster drop, and I don't know if that's when we'll get like Slimer and Ghost Trap, but I've had those on my watch list for 2 months. Like I'm like, when do we get the Ghost Trap? Like that was originally like the secret rare that I was looking forward to, and it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, have you seen that there's a Ghostbuster movie actually coming out this year? I think it's September is the drop date. So that would be so cool. And what's crazy is a lot of these brands have movies just around the corner. Like DC already has Titans on HBO Max. Like they had the Snyder's Cut. Like then they have like the next Batman coming out pretty soon too, or it looks like Batman Beyond looking theme. And I think there's like another, like the DC like universe is continually expanding, and they're kind of doing what Marvel did, which DC always kind of was like the OGs, and Marvel kind of like, I don't know, there's like kind of this battle from way back then, like Marvel copied DC, and like, but they're both really good. Now it's completely separate, but they both write really good stories, really good comics. But DC is starting to, you know, we're going to see a lot from DC moving forward, you know, and The Rock was filming a movie about, you know, a DC guy, like super villain. I forgot his name right now, but
there's gonna be an Aquaman one too, right? Like another Aquaman movie. I think that's supposed to come out. So yeah, I mean, like we said earlier, like there's just so much opportunity here. Like I really wish they did something with Mortal Kombat, like because that new movie, like the old ones, I thought were great when I was a kid. Right, they're super cheesy and like but awesome. Like the previews look really, really cool, and if they could do something with Mortal Kombat, that would be big. Someone, I was just about to bring this up too. Robbie Paul just brought up Terra Virtua is doing drops along with movie releases. Like so Terra Virtua, for those who don't know, is probably the closest competitor to what VeVe is doing. But when you actually zoom in and look at, like, they just did like a Godzilla drop with their collectibles with like the movie. And when you actually look at the collectibles, it's like close up, they look somewhat splotchy. And like, I'm not hating on the company. Like if you're invested in Terra Virtua, like they'll probably do well, right? But in comparison to like the level of detail that we're seeing with the Ultraman and the DeLoreans, they're just much further ahead, right? Especially also with like the community and like the actual active users that are being used on VeVe. So I think we'll see a lot more moving forward that could line up with like movies.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. And Geomite said Black Adam, and that's who I was talking about. That's who The Rock was playing, and where he's kind of like the supervillain. And then of course going back to the Snyder's Cut, where you had Darkseid as a supervillain, who's like, he's basically like the Thanos of the DC world, or he is the Thanos, if not stronger than Thanos with his, he's got his Omega like laser eyes that can like bend around corners and like, you know, take people out. But so there's a lot they could do with the movies, and you know, Morbius is coming out. That'd be cool if they dropped a vampire DC NFT on that as well, because Morbius is coming out I think this year as well, which a lot of people really don't know about Morbius, but I think they partnered up with it's like basically partnership with Marvel, which is pretty insane.
Yeah, I mean, again, there's just so much that they can really do that. I think like when Reese said on that, like that's what got me so hyped up. And when I did my last video was, you know, a price prediction, but then broken down to a roadmap, right? Like, and I built out that roadmap. And the reason why I took so much time to do that was because of that interview that Reese did with Crypto Strange or String, however you say it. And he said that they have backlogged like 100 licenses right now, and they're getting approached by tons of, you know, more brands and licenses and celebrities and tons and tons of different, you know, companies, that they have enough content basically for the next 5 to 6 years, right? Like that's crazy. So we all want it right now, right? But then like it would be like a dog, like it's like a dog chasing a car, right? Like if you caught that car, you wouldn't know what to do with it. But like we all want that information now, and they're smart because they're giving it to us bit by bit. And like we'll get the large exchange announcements, I think, once we're, you know, near like the bandwidth can handle it, and once we're near the end of the quarter or beginning of a quarter. And so they're structuring it out in the right way from a business perspective.
Yeah, it's definitely super smart, and it's definitely very attractive if you're a brand. And you know, just going back to the Ghostbusters movie coming out, Batman and DC, like they have literally the comics are actually like you could actually go to DC's comic website, and black and white comics are actually still dropping. Like you had series 1, 2, 3. So it's like they're dropping these collectibles with the comics. So it's like hyping up DC, both the OG comics and the movies at the same time. So there's definitely a marketing genius behind this that is just definitely a little bit underestimated. And like you're saying, they are doing it smart. But from an investor side, you know, I'm looking at that as very intelligent and a smart way to roll things out. And a lot of people might be like complaining, like, you know, we want to see things like hurry up and drop. But the way that they're approaching it is very intelligent, I think. And maybe it's a little bit by mistake, maybe a little bit on purpose, or a mixture of both. But what they're doing is very cool. By the way, oh, somebody said the Tom Brady going to be ultra rare. Yeah, if they drop Tom Brady, yeah, that's going to be literally insane. You know, yeah, with Tom Brady winning the Super Bowl last year, yeah, no, without a question. By
If
the
they made
way,
a Gronk, I'd be stoked.
yeah, Gronk. I saw him release a few things on a different platform. But how many users do you think the app will grow to? Like both short-term, long-term predictions?
I mean, yeah, like that's the like a lot of the comments that we get on like videos and on Twitter, all that is like, do you think VeVe will hit $1? And like, do you think they'll hit this many users? And like, you got to define it, right? Like by when, right? So like, how many users do I think the app could get to? I mean, before I ever answer anything, like I always do pretty deep research, right? So like I would try to compare it to another app that's widely used, but the fact that they were, you know, the top 5 trending app in multiple countries on the entertainment app side is pretty impressive. But 250,000 users on an app is still pretty peanuts compared to like a lot of larger apps that are widely used. Like I would think to maybe like compare it to like Socio's app, which is what Chili's is using, right? And Chili's is right now, I think the #1 or #2 NFT by market cap. I think it's behind Theta, which, you know, it's in the NFT sphere, right? But like they're just starting to release stuff, so that's considered. And really excited to see what they're going to be doing. But I think looking at like that user base might compare it, or even just like on a larger entertainment app space, right? But I think like in the next probably 3 months, maybe even 2, man, like the growth rate's been insane. Like they'll be at 1 million users. But I think by the end of the year, like as this catches on, we're going to get more people talking about it, right? Because the actual I guess, who could be large whales who have spoken about it have been like Andre Jick. Initially, like it was just dropped and it's been touched on a bit from Logan Paul, or Jake Paul, one of the Pauls, but it hasn't been like endorsed really by many large celebrities and influencers yet. So once they actually start working with them and people are talking about it more than just us crypto YouTubers, and like BitBoys covered it and a couple other ones have as well, like that's when I think it's going to be broadened out, right? Like it then becomes like cool to have a, you know, a Slimer or whatever NFT on the VeVe, right? So there's a lot of celebrities who are just creating NFTs or commissioning NFTs from artists because they don't really care about it. They just know it's a good way to make money and spread the brand, right? So like as they lean into this, like it's going to create a wider adoption and the user base is going to increase. And I think that's why like they want it to grow and they want the hype and they want the exposure, but at the same time, they need to get the app completely rolled out, figured out, make sure it can handle the bandwidth of all of us signing in on drops and all that. And then they're going to be working more with the celebrities, influencers, and bring in the mass crowd versus just us nerds.
Yeah, for sure. I like what Chad said. Chad Larrabee said, short-term 1 mil will take a long time before people believe in the NFT space. Maybe not, because I saw Saturday Night Live, you know, do that whole skit. So maybe it'll be here before you know it, with the whole
They're
people.
talking about on CNBC, and like if you look, if you zoom out from like a macro lens and look at like on stocks, like I'm a stock trader as well, and like every morning I'm up at 5:45 in the morning to do some pre-trading, and some of the stocks that have just shot up, like TCAT and a bunch of other ones, are all tied because they're NFT companies. Like I don't know if this has been covered much, but Playboy announced that they're going to be stepping into the NFT space, and like the stock has been crushing.
It's crazy, man.
Funko Pop has been going up. Like, so it's a space that is being highly covered right now, but it's still very nascent. Like it's still very much got a lot to grow. And I think we're at the tip of the iceberg right now, right? So like there's a lot to happen in the space. And I think it's being solidified because NFTs weren't created this year, right? NFTs have been around since 2016, 17 with CryptoKitties and all that. And then like has grown. Like Engine is another crypto company that I absolutely love. And they're doing a ton with NFTs in the gaming side. So as it continues to grow, we're going to see more and more.
Yeah, I definitely agree for sure. Yeah, I think when you kind of will have definitely an app that somebody that does really not know a whole lot, they just want to get on the app to kind of game on it. And, you know, hey, I saw this on the internet, I saw it go viral on TikTok. I want to download this app myself, and you know, I want to be able to play Street Fighter with my friend down the street. You know, I think that's when it's really going to just tear up through the next level. You know, obviously that's going to affect the OMI price, but you know, as we see the younger generation kind of do, you know, more things with it, create content with it, we're already starting to see that. But you start seeing TikTok creators and people that really don't have no idea about the crypto side, and they start investing into these NFTs. You know, Cavell's like, you know, the packs. We have people talking about in the chat about the packs. And, you know, they're investing in these packs, but they realize they can actually play with their collectibles. That's going to be huge, you know. And I always go back to the Fortnite example where these kids have access to their parents' credit cards. And literally that platform built off of parents' credit cards, you know, backs. And so that platform, multi-billion-dollar platform. But with VeVe, you're going to have an entire demographic from young to old, and that should not be underestimated, in my opinion. So, I think it's going to be very interesting to see how it goes. We got the VeVe verse, you know, Artist Alley, where there's going to be this whole artist side, you know, where Reese was talking about in so many of the videos, where they're bringing on artists too to create content, right? To create their own art, and that's another thing is like. I keep saying, I'm like, I think we're kind of maybe limiting ourselves. We're as the nerds, we're thinking just on the nerdy aspect of the brands, maybe the geeky brands, But there's like this whole other like thing we're really maybe not hinting or hitting on is the entire ecosystem of NFTs. I think there's like, if CoinGecko released in their report, it had collectibles, it had gaming, it had the metaverse, and it had artists, I think, as well. But VeVe, I think, hits on every cylinder almost, and they will. And as they're already number one in the collectible space, now you start hitting on these other ones like gaming and artists and metaverse, aka VeVeverse. It's like, well, what next? Like what's the limits there? And that's why I keep comparing it to real world companies with like almost $100 billion market caps like Snapchat that are kind of lesser. It's just a AR slash camera. They call themselves a camera company, but I think that's kind of the way that they're kind of going. Reese always talks about Ready Player One, and that's the kind of their vision. So that's going to be, it's a lot to digest, but I mean, maybe we're limiting the vision a little bit. What do you think on that as far as the vision goes?
I mean, there's a lot to unpack there, right? Like the whole Ready Player One thing, like what's happening in the augmented reality space as a whole is like not just the collectible side, is a lot. Like basically what's happened with, and I can't say the C word, but the disruption that's happened in all of our lives because of, affecting the world as a whole, has advanced technology by years, right? Because we've all been like huddled down and working on technology, and augmented reality was originally supposed to be a space that wasn't going to actually become out of emerging tech into like full adoption for a couple of years, like probably about 3 to 5 years. And now it's about a year or two away where we have like Apple, who's talking about like their augmented reality technology. We have, Microsoft's HoloLens, we have Google Glass. Like it's becoming more and more attractive, and it's not just being attached to the gaming world where like Ready Player One is, really has had a lot of us kind of like, oh, excited about, right? But a lot of that immersive technology is going to be a lot sooner than you think. And so having already like a fan base and then stepping into it, I think ECOMI is doing really well before it's large mainstream. Yeah, and then there was another piece too I was going to speak to, but it slipped my mind. I'll get back there.
All right, sounds good. So I guess the price, I don't know if you said you might have some content on your side as well, or any price, obviously you're the price guy, man. You got some great videos. Can you kind of speak on that? I have seen I don't know if you've seen the whale tracker, the OMI like wallet thing, but I've seen a lot of movements on there, moving to BitMax, it seems like. So I don't know. Do you have some things on that you'd like to say and kind of speak to?
I'm not quite sure on the BitMax side, but at the same time, it's my understanding that, and I've only heard this, so maybe you can confirm or not, but you cannot use BitMax in the US. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think you can only use Bit4x because they don't require they don't have like any requirements essentially.
So I guess one thing that would kind of stand out to me is like they were just in Japan for a big trade show, right? So like I imagine that probably grew some user base and probably some investors as well, right? So that could be a potential cause to it. And then one thing that I think about, like when I'm diving into the price side, and a lot of people get pretty frustrated with the fact that it's been consolidated down to around that 0.008 and just kind of stuck there, is we're starting to see more development into the actual tokenomics and how they're going to burn, right? Like they touched on the fact that in the marketplace, 2.5% of that goes to the actual burn of OMI. And then one thing that actually Reese touched on, and I forgot about this, was on the Dr. Deegan podcast, is he brought up that that the buybacks will be coming eventually, right? Like, but they haven't announced when, and so that'll be a big piece on how that'll affect the price as well. So a lot of things are, it's just kind of trading sideways and like down and back up. But as we get more announcements, we're going to see that go up. So I think a lot of what's happened with the price is it shot up like, what was it, like 400% in like a week, about a month ago. And then people were all hyped about it, and then they bought in, and then they sold. And then there might even be some manipulation here from some of the whales, right? Like they want the price down, right? Like whenever it's dropped below 0.08 for a while, like I bought
Burn,
more.
baby,
I'm not
burn,
manipulating.
baby, burn.
So like the people who are whales technically could manipulate it, but what's going to happen is they're going to come out with a big announcement, right? Or they're going to release something, and the price is going to go up, and then we're going to establish it's going to shoot way up, and then it's going to consolidate back down until we get the next announcement. But the biggest piece that is holding back the price really continuing to ladder up consistently, like some other crypto, is the access via exchanges. Like that is the biggest piece. With my channel, like I haven't told a whole lot of like most of my friends don't know that I have a channel yet, and like none of my family does. Like
I think for the most part, most of my family and friends do not know I have a channel
living in the
either.
shadows, right?
I love it, man, because I don't have to worry about all that, and they won't understand anyways. It's like, what do you do? YouTube, like, so it just doesn't make sense to them. So I just don't tell them anyways.
I told some of my buddies, and they checked out and they got all hyped up on like they originally when I showed them my Batman 2 months ago, they're like, oh, cool, bro. Like they didn't get it, right? Like, and then now they're like, NFTs are awesome. Like, hey, like, and I hopped on a call with them and went through like how to set up Bit4X. And for me, it was months ago when I set it up. It's not easy. It's a hassle. And like then you set it up, and then like it takes a couple of days to get verified and all that. Like when it actually becomes available on a decent app like KuCoin or on like Binance or Crypto.com or anything else that you can do in the palm of your hand quickly and easily with an exchange that you already have set up, or like even like on Hopper, like just having more exchange access is going to make this run away. And like that's where we're going to see a consistent laddering pattern of it, hitting 2 cents to 3 cents to 4 cents to 10 cents, and then continuing to go up as the adoption floods in. So that's the piece that I think is holding us back. But again, they've already addressed it, right? Like they just haven't announced it yet that they're working with multiple exchanges. They're not just working on one, multiple. So that's the piece that I think is where we're going to really see a lot more price action.
Yeah, and there's definitely, it does look like some weird, and maybe this is just pricing errors on the exchange, but it just kind of looks like they had some weird, movement right here on the chart. It like dropped down this is the 30-minute chart, down to 0.006 and then shot right back up to 0.0075. So that's kind of weird. Usually when I see that, it's normally, and this could not be the case, but pricing errors, and this is Bit4X. They've had that in the past, I think. Bit4X, and there's another one that has like a bull as a logo. I forget because there's so many exchanges now.
1 inch.
What's that?
1 inch.
Say that one more time.
1 inch.
Oh, I can't. You're kind of cutting out there for a second. I don't know if you guys can hear.
I think that's the 1 inch exchange, right? The bull.
Oh, 1X. It could be. I forget. There's like Bit4X, Bitfinex, Bit this, Bit that, Bit by Bit. I don't even know. But yeah, so what do you think about this whole price at where it sits now? Do you think this is kind of the floor? It seems to be kind of hitting a support level, but hopefully that support doesn't turn into the ceiling. Hopefully it stays at the floor, but it does appear to have some odd price movements right now, actually.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that outlier where it dropped down, but because it really quickly, that could have been just like a pricing error, but it seems like roughly the floor is that 0.0074, 0.0075, and it's kind of just bounced off there, and like I think it's dipped below a few times, but it's really held steady there. And that's the thing is like that's the current floor, right? Like it'll have another run, and then we'll establish another floor, right? So how I approach when I'm like, if you're new to OMI or ECOMI, or like you are just buying in, a lot of people will buy in at the top or on the run up, and some people did. So like, and that's why I did that video too. I was like, like just hodl, like don't panic sell. Like you have to look at your investments from not even a long-term play, but like if you buy at 1 cent and it drops 20%, like why did you buy? Like, did you just buy in because everyone was buying it and it was running away? Or did you buy in because you believe in the company and you believe in its success, and you believe in NFTs? And if you did, then just hold, because we're here now. But like there's been several where when I was an earlier trader, I would get in, I'd be like, all right, I got to get out, like it's dropping. And then when it run up and like, now I'm paying a higher price where like I would gladly pay more at that 1 cent price, right? So that's
Yeah,
why
for sure.
every time it's dropping below 0.08, that's a buying opportunity, right? You can either dollar cost average down, or
Mhm.
for me, I got in at 0.0014. So I've been dollar cost averaging up, but in the grand scheme of things, I'm happy to add to my bags at this cheap.
I'm 100% on that. And man, this I don't know if it was outlier, like you're saying, 90 million in trade volume in that 30-minute that 30-minute time period, which is insane. Which I'm not sure if we had a 90 million trade volume in a couple weeks, since it really just, yeah. If you look at that, we haven't. I mean, I guess it's relative. If I scroll back, it's not that. I guess not that much of a trade volume, but relatively speaking, I guess on the 30-minute chart, it does appear to be a larger candle on the volume. But I guess when you pull it back to the 4-hour chart, not so much. It just looks actually pretty average. We had almost 1 billion in trade volume back when this thing initially kind of ran on the initial run up. So I'm kind of running with the candle or the teacup and handle pattern as far as this goes. And I don't know if you've kind of seen that a couple of videos I did. I didn't think this never really confirmed for me. And I was telling people this could, if you're not careful, to watch out for the breakdown. And it essentially formed that cup and handle. But I'm not thinking that that was the real cup and handle. I think maybe we're at a floor price. If it does break down, I think definitely a little manipulation possibly, is happening. But, if we continue to have diamond hands and hold, I kind of foresee this being an actual bigger cup and handle pattern altogether. So I don't know. What do you think on that?
I mean, like, and I'm not a technical analysis expert, but I do think that that we're right around that bottom,
Mhm.
and I do think like as we get more information, like it's going to run away. The piece too is I've touched on like the exchange and like the accessibility, but a lot of whales and investors, like they only will actually invest in something once
Mhm.
they have access via like an exchange that has enough security or something that they're familiar with, right? So there has to be just tons of people on the sidelines waiting for a more secure, and nothing on, no hate on Bitforex. Like it was just my first time really using it. But I think we're going to see that's when they're going to be buying a lot more, right? Like that's when it's going to actively see a much bigger spike.
Yeah, definitely. And I totally agree. And just to go back what we were saying, I think towards the beginning of the video, part one maybe, is yeah, you get listed on more exchanges, and you get access to more people's wallets at the end of the day. That's really what it is. And like you said, you get to the higher tier, kind of the blue collar or blue chip type of exchanges. There's a plethora of them. Poloniex, Bittrex. You get to the higher tier, you keep working up all the way up till you're up until a Binance, and then there's just way more liquidity, way more. People are literally staking on platforms like Binance, and so there's just more money tied up into those platforms, and it's much easier for somebody to say, hey, I can take a little bit out of my portfolio here and just move it into OMI tokens, and I'm comfortable letting that sit for 5+ years. And I think definitely it's a long-term strategy for sure. So
Yeah, the
anyways.
interoperability is going to be too, just because like we saw what happened with the whole OMI thing, right?
Mhm.
like being able to actually buy OMI direct and not having to wrap your tokens, like the ease of use is what's going to be really the biggest key here. But again, I've said it a couple times in videos, we're early. So congrats to everyone who's part of the community and who's in now, because we are the early adopters, and this price is going to be like just like it's going to be in the rear view, right? Like we're
Yeah.
lucky to hold it where it is now.
Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, so we're definitely lucky. I'm excited for the staking opportunity. So I definitely need to accumulate more. I definitely bought in both sub to 0.002 sub that price. I think it was 0.0017 or something like that. because I couldn't really get my money moved over fast enough, and because I knew there was going to be a breakout imminent, and obviously with all the exciting news that was about to happen, I was like, man, this is going to blow up, and I was going to try to get 1 million at least, and then I only got a small bag. So for me, if the price goes down, I'm perfectly okay with that. To be honest, if there's manipulation, guys. I'm not going to be sad, to be honest, because I'm just going to pick up more. And I know a lot of people in the community are too. But it does seem like it's kind of holding at that definitely a floor level, and hopefully it can still hold, if you've invested at a higher price, which I know personally, I've, people that are close to me that invested, around a penny. So they're kind of a little bit of a loss, but that's okay, because long term, it still has an amazing opportunity to grow. So
only had a loss when you sell, right?
yeah, exactly. So any final words, or do you got anything else? I think we're coming up on, definitely over an hour, not even counting part one. So we're on part two of coming up on a little over an hour.
No, man. I mean, I appreciate you having me on your live stream. Like I said before, I love the community. Like, I love seeing your videos in Earth to Masteries and New to Crypto, and JK, and like everyone's just kind of approaching it from multiple sides. And all of the subscribers that are your subscribers, my subscribers, Jake's, like, we're all interacting and being a part of this, which is really powerful in its own right. So, I encourage questions. We all try to respond to the comments. So if there's anything that we haven't covered, like, engage with us, let us know via Twitter, or on Kyle's YouTube, or on the Taps Trades channel. Like, let us know your questions, and we're interacting occasionally with the VeVe and ECOMI team as well. So eventually, hopefully we'll be able to have like a direct interview on one of our channels as well. Once they're not focused on working on the app and all that. So yeah, everyone just hodl and remember where we are now and where we can go to.
Boom. There you go, guys. So make sure you find him on Twitter and on YouTube, guys. He's creating amazing content. He's got great fundamental analysis. There's one that I really watched recently that I really loved, where I think you had some kind of an S-curve chart where there's like the adoption with meeting with the price. I actually really love that. I love the breakdown, and for me, I love to see that, because it helps me. First of all, it makes me feel comfortable. I'm like, oh, okay, somebody else is thinking like me a little bit. But you go definitely to the next level on a lot of that stuff. And so I think that's really cool. So make sure you guys reach out, go on YouTube, look up Taps Trades, and then also go on Twitter, Taps Trades as well. It's literally his handle on Twitter. And give him a sub, guys. And like he's saying, hopefully we'll get the ECOMI team, maybe where we're streaming live on YouTube and kind of doing what Reese was doing with Deegan's, and we can get more access to the community. So be on the lookout for that, guys. VeVe is definitely retweeting us and sharing our stuff. So we appreciate, obviously, ECOMI and the team. We appreciate everybody in the chat today. We have Crypto Keeper, OG. We have tons of OGs in the house, in the chat. VeVe Vault, we have Sir Crypto, a lot of people, a lot of YouTubers as well. So we appreciate everybody for tuning in. Such a solid community. I love it, guys. I love you guys, man. And that's all I got, man. That's about it, man. Hopefully the price remains at that floor and we don't go down. But if we do go down, I'm just gonna buy some more. So I don't know.
Mentality.
Exactly, man. We got them diamond hands in the house. So that's all I got, man. Maybe next week we'll have some great news coming on Monday, 5K more users. And, as we go through the week next week, maybe we'll hear some more big news. I don't know. The whole Indy Kala thing had us all hyped up. Reese addressed that and was like, yo, that's a random Twitter account. I wonder what they're going to say, because we don't even know, it's like.
Yeah, they've got us by the strings, man. Like we're just chomping on the bit for more information, but this has been fun. This is my first one of these. So I really appreciate you offering me to come on here and getting to interact with everyone. If anyone who's on here, if you haven't hit the like the button so more of the community is aware of it, and make sure you subscribe to Kyle. He does great content.
Much love, guys. And we'll see you guys in the next video, and we'll have Tap Trades on again for sure, man. I loved it too. And I will see you guys in the next one on Twitter, on the VeVe app. Go look us up, and peace.